Hi, I'm Barb Tanzillo. I stumbled into the reunion 2 years ago because I read Bonnie Henry's article in the newspaper about a Hughes family reunion, and I had always heard through family stories that I was a Hughes. So I walked in and Cliff and Margaret welcomed me with open arms, and I am so grateful for that. I'm grateful to be here. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our Landon line, because most of you, we were sort of missed in the tree that Cliff has done. So we've continued that, which I am very thankful for the inspiration, Cliff, for us to build our family stories. My mother wrote a little speech for me that I'm going to read to you, and hopefully that covers some of the basics, and then we can continue our meetings as our reunions continue. Petra Manuela, or Manuela, was also known as Petra Emma, and she was the daughter of Sam and Atanasia, and she married Frank Julian Landon Sr. And interestingly enough, Petra is the only Hughes that was born on the Crittenden Ranch of the children, and I thought that was kind of interesting when you mentioned the Crittenden Ranch, because I remember seeing that on some of the documents that we have. I assume that maybe perhaps they were visiting and she decided to have the babies. Could be, don't know. Our part of the family doesn't know a lot about Frank Sr. other than that there's a possibility that he was a railroad man and traveled a lot. At any rate, there seems to have been some trouble in Paradise because after the birth of the 5 children, Frank and Emma divorced. Their 5 children were my grandfather Frank, who married Mary Agnes Mullins, an Irish woman, and they had 4 children, 2 who survived from their infancy. He also had James Laverne Landon, Nathan Hart Landon, Jessie Elaine Landon, and Mildred Irene Landon, and many of those Landons also lived up in the Bay Area. At the divorce, the custody of these 5 children was given jointly to the parents of Frank Landon Sr., who lived in a small town in southeastern Arizona called Bowie, Arizona, and to the parents of Emma, which of course were Sam and Atanasia. There are family stories of Frank's childhood in Bowie. He had warm feelings about his grandmother and grandfather Landon, told of working on a cattle roundup at age 8 or 9, during which he got lost in the mountains around Bowie for 2 days and was found, after surviving on the roundup cruise, ration of beer, which was packed on his horse. He also told of playing in Grandmother Hughes' farm with his brothers and accidentally setting it on fire. They were transported between Bowie and Tucson by railroad. Frank Landon Jr., my grandfather, went to work for the railroad upon completion of the 6th grade. Somehow, the family seems to have moved to the San Francisco Bay Area during their teen and young adult years. While in San Francisco, he met and married my grandmother, Mary Agnes Mullins, the daughter of Irish immigrants, who also was a child of divorced parents. She and her sister were raised by their aunt. My mother has always felt that that was why they had such a strong feeling of the importance of a solid nuclear family. They had 2 children, James Daniel Landon and my mother, Mary Louise, who's with us today. James married Barbara Brown. They had 2 children, and after their divorce, he married Diana Tanver, and they had an adopted son and an adopted daughter. Mary Louise Landon married my father, William Carl Joseph Otto, who was of German descent, I believe, and they had 7 children, 6 of whom survived. My sister Elizabeth died in 1994, and the rest of us are still surviving. And my mother thinks that it's important to point out that one of the reasons that family history is good to keep track of is to know something about the medical history in your family, so that if you have medical issues, you can talk to your doctor about those. My uncle James Laverne Landon married Charlotte, and we don't know Charlotte's maiden name. They had 2 children, one of whom survives. Lorna had 3 children, and she lives in Hawaii. Not much is known in my family about Nathan Hart Landon, other than that the family called him Hart, and he died of cancer, probably of the stomach or the colon. Jesse Landon married Russell Booth, a newspaper man. They had 3 children, Virginia Booth Daly, Stanley Booth, who died about 10 years ago, and Dorothy Booth Mogen. All had children of note. All had children of note is that Dorothy had triplets. Mildred Landon married Dewey Vickery. There were no children that I know of. There are also the Texas Landons that will require a lot more research, and we are going to continue our project. And that's all I have for you guys today. I don't have a lot of pictures, but I'm so happy to be here. And I want to thank all of the folks who traveled from so far away to be here today in Arizona in June. That's pretty amazing. And I hope that we get to do this again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Barbara is responsible for our activities last night. She arranged for us to be the La Casina, and her husband was the lead vocalist in the band. So we are very pleased that she would be so kind as to arrange all that for us. It was great.